Welcome back to the channel, guys. So if you watched the last video, you would have known that we took this to the track. We ran our personal best, the fastest we've ever gone. We wanted to go a 10. We didn't make a 10. We had some issues. Number one being, you can see I have gear oil down there. I didn't really show this before, but I bought a twin disc, a used twin disc, and it wreaked havoc. It just, I'm taking the motor out right now for two reasons. Number one, that twin disc has to get sent back to comp. So comp's gonna look it over and see what they can do to fix it. It just ate the transmission. I'll show a picture. It just ate it. I believe what happened is it ate it so badly that the pinion cracked and it was flexing and coming out. That's my first idea. Second idea is maybe the shifter linkage is messed up. Maybe the shifter's cracked. Third idea is that I didn't clearance something inside the trans, because my first two passes, I had no issues. I was able to rip through the RPM range without issues. But on my third and fourth pass, every time I got to 7,800 RPMs in third gear, it would pop out. So that means that something's wrong. Either something's externally wrong, something's internally wrong, but either way it has to come out, because there's gear oil all over the bottom of the transmission, gear oil leaking out of the slave cylinder up here. So something's messed up inside the case. It's either a seal is bad, which I don't believe. I believe the pinion's cracked. So we'll see that when it comes out. And then what we also have to do is get the correct measurement. I have another bell housing. We're gonna bolt it together, see how much clearance we have, take notes, and send it all back to comp. Hopefully this will be sorted, and then maybe you guys can get new comp clutches and not have any issues, but that's its own thing. The other thing that happened was the throttle body exploded. Is an Amazon special. It's a 102. There you can see it's just dangling. We found this on the track. Anthony found it for me, but what we didn't find was the spring. So if I don't come up with something, I'm probably just gonna huck it in the trash, because what else can I do? In fourth gear, when all this happened, so this broke and started going crazy. I don't know if it went back and hit anything, but my oil pressure reading went crazy. Usually with this car, I see about 93, 94 PSI of oil pressure at full RPMs, full load. So it's rock steady. Should put the picture in here. Rock steady at 93. And then all of a sudden it jumped and it maxed out my gauge to 125, then 0, then 125, then 0, then 125, then 0 for a little bit, then 125, 0, 125, blah, 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 and then it back to 90. So either there's a discrepancy in there that something electrical happened with the sensor, could be the way I have it mounted, something could have broke. There is oil all over the filter housing, so that's got to be looked at. Worst case is that like the oil regulation valve could have gotten stuck, jammed, and went crazy in there and caused these issues. So at this point, I'm taking out the trans. I'm just gonna pull the motor too. It's not that much more. This is a race car, so everything's supposed to be serviceable. I'm gonna take the rad out, take the front core support stuff off, and then take the axles out, take all the wiring harness off, and then theoretically it should just come out. And I do believe I'm gonna just throw some rod bearings in it. I haven't done any rod bearings in it since last season. There has been multiple times where I've had 0 oil pressure in this for various reasons. This latest reason is a little more concerning, because I could actually see it in the graph that it was going sporadic. All the other times there was a cause and I was able to fix it. Right now I don't have a cause of this. I just have the effect of it, which was oil pressure going crazy. So just gonna start tearing into it, guys. This is what happens when you have a race car. Don't think you're not gonna work on it every weekend. That's what I was trying to build, something I didn't have to touch. And this is probably my most worked on car. So let's get to it. I always say fuel lines for last because they just, I don't feel like having fuel everywhere. So all we have to do is just pull the axles out. So, I mean, you've seen that 1,000 times, I'm not gonna show it. And then if you're gonna roll the car, just make sure you put some axle stubs in, which I have some over there, so I'm just gonna throw some axle stubs in and put the axles to the side. And then I'll see you guys when we're actually pulling it out.
We're about to take this piece of junk out.
The engine and trans are out. You can see all the gear oil that's just puking away and coming out of the bell housing. So we're just gonna rip all the bolts off the axle flange and then get the trans out and set everything down on the ground and just make it safe to walk around basically. That oil pressure regulating valve, I believe, so we'll have to see what's going on in that. If there was any issues, go through, clean everything, check everything out and see what's going on. Thank you. Big old crack.
Where?
In the pinion, right there. Basically exactly what I expected. There's a nasty crack right there in the pinion. This sucks. So this case is just totally junk. Basically I gotta take it back apart, put another bell housing on it. There's a lot of work to build the trans, so man, that sucks. All right guys, so we're continuing on. Got the dog box back. You can see it's all taken apart. I kind of went through everything, made sure all the dogs look good. All the wear seems fine to me. I don't really know why it was popping out of third gear. This is where the pinion was. You see right there, it was actually rubbing on it. All the pinion bearings were fully cooked. So there's the case. Yeah. So what I've been doing is just, like I said, going through everything. I got another bell housing. This one is an O2A. At this point, it doesn't matter. I was using the O2J specifically because it had more mounting holes and I could like bolt through to the oil pan. But at this point, I'm just considering it weight reduction. I'm gonna have less bolts in it. Yeah, messing with all that stuff. I'm gonna check all these other bearings and stuff like that. One thing I've been thinking about doing is, remember on this reverse lockout plate, I had to bend it up. I've been thinking about right here, if I disassemble this reverse gear and I make a machine spacer to go in there to always have the reverse gear up, I won't have to bend that. And if I don't have to bend that, maybe that's the cause of the third gear popping out issue. So that's something I'm definitely gonna do. And when I make that, I'll show you guys, and maybe I'll try to link it back into the video. But yeah, as of now, this is where we are. Anything I do to update, I'll show you guys. You can see right here, both pinion bearings are out. I only did this one because to get this one off, you gotta take that one off. So I had to press it off, but this was the one that was cooked. This was the one that was actually hitting the case because the twin disc was pushing it in so much. The last little clip you would have saw, I got the transmission finished. It's all good to go. I just have to install it on the car. And I sent the clutch out. It's been a couple weeks. Haven't heard anything. So I think at this point, to progress and move forward, because it's the season starting, so I gotta get out there. I am just gonna be throwing back a used Clutch Masters back in the car. The whole reason to go to the twin disc was so I wouldn't break rivets. I broke some rivets on a clutch before, so that was kind of getting rid of it, but the twin disc killed the transmission. So I got no choice right now. That's what I'm gonna run. I'm gonna put that on. I'm still waiting on this 5th gear cuff, having one made. That's been months, so you just can't wait around on parts. Stuff's got to go back together. Another big thing I'm going to do, because I had some weird thing in my log, so it could have been just a bad sensor. So I'm gonna order one of those combo sensors from Low Dollar Motorsports. So it'll be oil and temp all in one. But just in case, I got some brand new OEM bearings. We're just gonna throw them in there. If you're building any kind of car now, especially a VR, you know that like the coated bearings are just, it's hard to find them. You don't really need them. I think mostly just that film is for oil loss, to keep your engine safe if you have oil loss or oil pressure loss. OEM bearings will be fine. I had them in my old Mark II. No issues, lasted for a long time. Speaking of that, you guys can see it is back. I do customer cars at home. This is now a customer car. So this is not my car. Don't get too excited. Putting it back together for him. He threw a rod somewhere from me to him. The car got really hacked up, so I'm putting a lot of the stuff back at stock. Somebody had used jumper cables to relocate the battery to the trunk. I'm doing away with all that. The battery's going back up front and just fixing a bunch of things. The turbo locked up when the engine blew up. It's junk, has windows through the block. If I have a picture, I'll show you. So anyway, that's that. But you can see that I have spent the good part of the last 2 weeks just reorganizing the shop. Everything's just, I think it's more ergonomic. I think it's gonna make more sense because I'm working a lot more on customer stuff at home now. So I have, you know, all just my regular tools and then my fab tools over here. And then I took one of the shelves and moved it over to here. And now I'm gonna make this my welding station. Waiting on some aluminum to come in, because obviously you can't just weld on some grates. So I'm just gonna have an aluminum sheet across here. And I think this will be dialed. And then I also did get 2 welding carts. So now I can just wheel them around anywhere I need. And I've been adding like different stuff throughout the shop. So now I have an airline right here. So that'll be much nicer. I can fill up tires or whatever out here. That was always a big headache, is filling up tires. But the biggest thing is, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on screen, but I have plenty of room in here. I have race car over there. I can still come in and out on the lift, no problem. And I can even have one more car right here. So I think it was a lot of work moving all this stuff around, but I think it's worth it in the long run. And we will have some, I'm gonna try to do like a quick couple minute video or something like that when the time comes. I do have a pretty big announcement for you guys. So anyone who's racing and in the racing community, especially all motor racing, keep an ear out and an eye out for the video. It'll just be a quick video, just going down details of what's going to go on, but that should be here soon. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. I have stickers and stuff like that, but I generally just hand them out when we go to shows and whatnot. So I want to try my best to start getting to more shows this year. I am still working on the Rabbit that's in the background. It's hard to get videos on that. It's hard to make videos on that simply because all the stuff I recorded got lost and overwritten. So I don't even remember where you guys saw it last. Right now we're polishing the intake manifold. We're gonna do some odds and ends. That's what I'm trying to show you, is just buttoning the car up and getting it ready for the first drive. So yeah, if you guys can just give me a like, subscribe, share, comments, and everything helps. See you guys in the next one, I guess.